Good morning, everybody. It is 11:17 on Monday, August 5th. This is Mondays with Robin live, and I'm coming to you from my house. And it's like I have been trying this for the past couple of weeks. Normally, I go live in my group, Fierce Happy Women, on Facebook, and I do all kinds of content in that group. So if you like this content, join us in Fierce Happy Women, which is a welcoming community. You don't necessarily have to be a woman. There are a few um, men in that group as well. I haven't changed the name yet to Fierce Happy People because it just doesn't have the same ring to it. But it is a welcoming, inclusive group. And normally I go live in that group. I've been trying something new. My name is Robin Thomas, and I am a happiness coach, a spiritual teacher. I call myself a spiritual GPS and a cosmic healer. I'm also a channel for a group of multidimensional beings called the Council of Light. They tell me they're a sect of something larger called the Council of Souls, and they directly channel messages to me about spirituality, healing, consciousness work, being spiritual beings in this time of change and upheaval. And I usually share their messages. I have a membership site where you can where I do a channeled reading once a month. I just finished doing the channeled reading for August, and so today's message is going to be like a shortened version of the message that they gave us that the Council of Light gave us for August. So that's me in a nutshell. I've been doing consciousness work and spirituality and personal development work for almost 30 years. I was studying I was actually learning how to meditate and studying manifesting and getting into a frequency state when I was a little kid. My mom was studying consciousness work with um, Edgar Casey, and she studied before I was born. She studied with Casey, and then she studied with Laurie Cabot. She was doing magic in a time when it wasn't popular. So I've been doing this work since I was a kid. I had my first I don't my first spiritual awakening when I was about 22. I was living alone in Cambridge, and I had gotten high. I had smoked, and I actually got to experience the universe as energy. And I had this like incredible um epiphany that everything was just energy vibrating at different frequencies, which then prompted my master's thesis, which was around how there's enough energy in the world, but most of us learn early on that there isn't. And so we get into these patterns of energy that where we try to take energy from other people. It was my whole master's thesis was this was a I created these what amounted to profiles of defensive energy and how we would steal people's energy. And either it was passive aggressive, or it was aggressive, or it was people pleasing, or it was just to be aloof and out and like totally out of your not present at all, or to be really victimy. And they were based on a whole bunch of things that I had read up to that point. And then flash forward to 15 years later, maybe, I was studying with one of my teachers, Reese Thomas, and lo and behold, his profiles were the exact same as the ones I had created in my master's thesis in the early 2000s. So I literally have been doing this work inadvertently or vertently. Is that a word? Consciously or unconsciously, I've been doing this work my whole life. I say this all to you to say I'm I'm I walk my talk. I walk my talk every day. I live a spiritual, surrendered, open-hearted life, and sometimes that's really challenging, especially in these moments and in these times. I was watching I was watching the Olympics over the weekend, which just I find I don't it yes, of course there's a sense of pride when Americans do well. Yes, but there's also this sense of like awe and wonder of these incredibly dedicated athletes who give their all. I don't care what country they're playing for. They're so committed to their sport. You can't help but feel the the magic of that. And yet there's a whole slew of outrage. I mean, there's a whole slew of reasons for people. Not even reasons. There's a whole slew of people who are outraged for not any real reason. One of the messages that the council gave us this month is that we're meant to be heart centered. They've been saying this forever. Our hearts are the places that lead us, not our head, not our not our fear, but our hearts. And when we're in our hearts, there's actually no room for hate. There's no room for outrage. There's no room for bigotry or us versus them. When you're in your heart, when you spend time in your heart space, our sole reason for existing is to love and be loved. I'm currently taking a class. It's what is it? It's healing the divine masculine and the divine feminine. I can't remember the name of the class. It has those elements in it. It's basically a channeled class from Mary Magdalene. The teacher who teaches it channels Mary Magdalene. Um, who has come in recent times to embody, the divine feminine, and yet her gospel is one of balance. Her gospel is one of we need the divine masculine just as much as the divine feminine. And she counsels us in this class not to go towards the pendulum swinging towards totally all, we need the balance of masculine and feminine. We don't want to like be against men. That's why women, that's why men I work with men. I actually enjoy working with men quite a bit. Um Especially when they're waking up and really trying to understand what it means to hold the divine masculine. I hold both in really equal measures, so it's easy for me to both. I love working with women and helping them embrace their divinity, their receiving, their allowing, their just grace. And I love working with divine masculine and teaching them how to hold that safe space and be solid and yes, be action oriented, but taking aligned action. It's such a beautiful balance. And, it took me a long, long, long time to come to balance within me around that. And this is what I teach now because I spent 40 years of my life thinking there was just something fundamentally broken within me. There was just something wrong with me. And I went to teachers and healers and gurus and everybody. If you just tell me what's wrong with me, I will fix it, but you had to tell me what was wrong with me. It wasn't until I was in like 40 or 41 when I realized, well, maybe there's nothing actually broken inside of me. Maybe it's really okay to be me as is. And once I got to that place of like, wow, it really is okay to be me as is, something unfurled within me, and I no longer had fear and rage and anger and outward like they did this. I was no longer a victim to circumstances. I was no longer a victim to men. I mean, there are people who in my world still think that I hated men. It wasn't that I hated men. I hated what had become of I hated I don't know, patriarchy, right? The misogyny. But I've even come to embrace not embrace misogyny, that's not what I mean, but understand that it's all coming from a fear place. Which the first there each of the seven chakras has is the seven chakras themselves are the blueprint for how we are meant to be in the world. They are the map of our consciousness. Each one of those chakras has something that shuts it down. The first chakra, which is the root, which is the tribe, which is the physical world, which is everything we can see, feel, touch, family, tribe, ancestors, DNA, physical characteristics, gender, bones, physical earth, 3D world. It's all first chakra. And what shuts down the right of the first chakra is to be here, to belong, to exist. What shuts it down is fear. So I invite you to just imagine for a minute what this world feels like right now. It probably feels pretty scary because it's ruled by fear, because the first chakra is changing, because we are upgrading, because we are becoming a new human. There's a lot of fear around this change, and it's unknown, and people don't know what's happening, and it feels like the sand is shifting among us, underneath us, and it is. There isn't any real stable ground to stand on anymore. That's all by design. The upheaval is the upgrade, and our job is to simply surf it. But when we give in to fear, that puts us in a us versus them. It creates that tribal closed ranks energy. It is what allows someone to attack someone they've never met before and don't know, simply because she doesn't present the way you think she should present as a top athlete in her sport. And it's what allows us to get into really nasty comments in social media, right? Things we say that we would never say otherwise. It comes from that fear place. It comes from the darkness. Our job as healers and light workers and beings and spiritual beings on the planet is to rise above it. The course I was taking and the message that came down from the channel Council of Light was the same. Our job right now is to love and be loved, to love freely and to receive love freely. I have conversations all the time with my guides and my spirit team, and they basically say to me all of the time, all of the resources you have that the universe has is available to you. Thank you for doing our work. They tell me all of the time. The council says it, Mary Magdalene says it, my soul team says it. They say to me all the time, thank you for doing our work. We're here to serve you. Please ask. And they tell me all the time that we can't ask enough. We're coming up on, in a couple of days, we're in the window of the Lionsgate. The Lionsgate is a beautiful time of manifesting and becoming a vibrational match for what we want to see in the world. It's an amazing time when our sun aligns with the galactic sun, the heart of the universe. So we, as the bridge between spiritual and matter, we're the bridge because we hold both, just like we hold the divine masculine and the divine feminine in balance. We're the bridge. The number 8 is the representation of the balance between physical and spiritual. We can become the vibration that we want to see, and we have a obligation to do so right now. And if we want to manifest, I don't even think of it as manifesting. I think of it as more as co-creation. But our job is to receive. We've done the work, or we're doing the work. We get to receive at this point, and it gets to be really easy if we allow it. And whenever we encounter those places of fear and judgment and loathing and hatred and the us versus them, you don't look like us, you're not from around here. I read on I like to get a pulse of where people are and what people are thinking. So I often read comments, and I know you're not supposed to, but I really do like to see what what the sense is out there. And what I see more so often is that there's a resort to name calling when there's it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be nasty. It doesn't need to be like if we could just pause for a minute. Do this with me. I want you to pause for a minute, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Well, unless you're driving. If you're driving, don't. But if you're not driving, pause for a minute. Take a couple of breaths in and exhale slowly. Come into your heart space. Bring your attention and your awareness and your focus right into your heart. Just breathe into your heart for a minute. I want you to say thank you to your heart. Feel love and affection and gratitude for your heart that moves you forward and keeps you going and keeps you alive. And then just for a minute, notice the resounding love and gratitude that your heart feels back. Just be in relationship with your heart right now. Whatever your heart feels, let it be okay. Say yes to all of it. Just be in relationship with your heart. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to change it. What I want to know is, what did you notice? What did you feel? Does it feel just a little bit quieter, softer, more compassionate in here? Do you have just a little bit, maybe one more degree of love and affection and compassion for yourself, for others, for the people you disagree with? Can you imagine if the whole world had just this much more compassion and love and understanding? Can you imagine what would be possible from there? That's the world I see. That's the world I live in. That's the world I'm creating. And I can't do this alone. And I need every single one of you to join me, because that's how we heal and fix what's broken. That's really all I have. I hope you have a beautiful Monday. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe, tell your friends, invite. Again, I do Mondays with Robin live every Monday. And then in my Facebook group, I do some other stuff. And I'm either here or I'm in the Facebook group. I'm on Instagram. I'm kind of all over the place, but I want you to know that I live and breathe and share and teach this message over and over and over and over again. We are the ones we've been waiting for, and the world needs your light right now. So shine it as brightly and fiercely and unapologetically as possible. I have a group healing that I do once a month. I have a membership site. All of this is on my website. If you go to phoenix-rising-healings.com, it's actually in my bio. Please like and share and follow, and let's keep doing amazing work together. I love you all. Happy Monday.